Okay, we'll call to order the Town of Quartzsite meeting of Ad Hoc Ethics Committee, Tuesday, October 2nd, 2012 at 11:30 a.m. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Anderson.
Here.
Councilmember Jewett.
Here.
Councilmember Crooks. Here.
Okay, new business, item 1. Okay, review complaint and recommend action regarding Councilmember Workman's alleged release of confidential information concerning Conley et al. Versus the Town of Quartzsite, a violation of 5-D. Thank you. I believe we need a motion for this, or do we?
I think this is a discussion and recommendation to the council. What?
Could you speak into the microphone, please?
Excuse us, please.
I believe this is just discussion and recommendation to the whole council. Am I correct?
Okay. At this time, I will ask Councilman Jewett to read the memorandum that the committee requested.
This is this one or this one? What?
Let me see.
Which one are you referring to?
How do we get to my release of confidential document inquiry?
Okay. Dated September 27th, and this is the findings of Mr. Tony Ford, the investigator, and this is addressed to the entire council, and it reads as follows. I met with Laura Bruno regarding the compromising of confidential documents, possibly by a sitting town council member. Interim Town Manager Laura Bruno expressed that council members had requested a status update in regard to Conley et al. Versus the Town of Quartzsite. As a result of this request, Interim Town Manager Bruno received a 3-page letter dated September 18, 2012 from the law firm of Jackson Lewis, authored by attorney Stephen Coleman. On September 21, 2012, Ms. Bruno conducted 2 briefing sessions with 3 council members present at each session. These council briefings appear to be allowed by law and do not violate public notice as long as the following limitations are in place. 1, the purpose of the meeting is to present information only. 2, no actions or decisions are made with regard to the information presented. And 3, council members do not discuss the information shared with each other. At the commencement of each meeting, Interim Town Manager Bruno admonished the council members as to the confidentiality required and specifically not to share the information with anybody, regardless of status in the community. During the meeting, Interim Town Manager Bruno presented each council member with a copy of the 3-page letter authored by attorney Stephen Coleman. Each town council member was allowed to read the letter, again with the admonishment that its contents were not to be shared with anyone. On Tuesday, September 25, 2012, Interim Town Manager Bruno received a text message from Councilmember Orgeron directing her, Ms. Bruno, to check her email. On doing so, Ms. Bruno discovered a message generated from a D, who is employed by the law firm of Schneider and Onofre, who is the opposing counsel for the case of Conley et al. Versus the Town of Quartzsite. The email revealed, in summary, that the law firm of Schneider and Onofre had been given a copy of the confidential document presented to town members during the meeting of September 21st, 2012. The email correctly states the fact that Schneider and Onofre's possession of the 3-page document violates attorney-client privilege. That is the privilege between the Town of Quartzsite and the law firm of Jackson Lewis. As a result of this disclosure, Interim Town Manager Bruno had a telephone conversation with Ms. Ann Gergen, who is the Town of Quartzsite's agent for the Arizona Municipal Risk Retention Pool. Ms. Gergen expressed that Council Member Patricia Workman was responsible for disseminating the confidential instrument. Excuse me, my mouth is dry. Interim Town Manager inquired to the effect, "Are you sure?" Ms. Gergen's response was yes. As a follow-up to the September 21st meeting, Interim Town Manager Bruno conducted a series of 3 briefing sessions, 2 council members each, to inform them of the breach of confidentiality. During each of the 3 sessions, Town Clerk Terry Frausto was present as a witness. These meetings occurred during the afternoon of September 25, 2012. For the final meeting, council members Norma Crooks and Patricia Workman were present, together with Town Clerk Frausto. As with all of these follow-up meetings, no council member was aware of the nature of the meeting prior to attending. Interim Town Manager Bruno informed council members Crooks and Workman that a problem had developed that has a direct effect on the town's participation with the Arizona Municipal Risk Retention Pool. Ms. Bruno informed the members that the 3-page letter authored by the law firm of Jackson Lewis, copies of which were given to each council member to read, had been released publicly. Specifically, opposing counsel at the law firm of Schneider and Onofre had been given a copy of the document. Interim Town Manager Bruno revealed to both council members Crooks and Workman that council person Workman was mentioned as the person responsible for the breach of confidence. Only after Interim Town Manager Bruno repeated herself, indicting that council person Workman had been named as the responsible person, did council person Workman respond. Ms. Bruno recalls that Ms. Workman responded that Jade went into her, Workman's, materials and took it. Councilperson Workman offered that it happened when Jade, also known as Jennifer Jones, was visiting Councilperson Workman's home. The meeting ended with Interim Town Manager Bruno again emphasizing the magnitude of the breach of confidence. As a matter of procedure, I was shown a copy of the subject letter from Attorney Stephen Coleman. This letter was the exact letter provided council members. I reviewed the outline of the letter for basic purposes only as to who had authored the letter, the date of the letter, the approximate length of the letter, and finally the signature of the letter's author. I did not read the contents of the letter as I viewed the contents to remain privileged information. September 27, 2012 at 9:10 a.m., Norma Crooks interview. I contacted Councilperson Norma Crooks by telephone at her home. Councilperson Crooks expressed that she was aware of my role in helping the town of Quartzsite sort out various events that have recently occurred. I specifically explained to Ms. Crooks that the reason for my call was to inquire as to the events surrounding the 2 council briefings that had recently taken place. I directed Councilperson Crooks to the council briefing of September 21st, 2012. Councilperson Crooks explained that the council had never been briefed or updated on matters affecting the town of Quartzsite, specifically matters of personnel and ongoing litigation, so the council had requested a briefing. The meeting began with an admonition from Ms. Bruno that the matters to be briefed were confidential and not to be shared with anyone outside the meeting. Ms. Crooks explained that the meeting on the 21st, Interim Town Manager Laura Bruno had briefed the members present, Crooks, Jewett, and she couldn't recall the 3rd member, about personnel matters, a voter fraud issue, and finally a status update on the case known as Conley et al. Versus the town of Quartzsite. During the briefing regarding the Conley case, Interim Town Manager Bruno presented each member with a copy of a status update letter generated by attorney Stephen Coleman of Jackson Lewis. Ms. Crooks indicated that the letter presented a good overview of the case status. Councilperson Crooks said the meeting ended a short time later. Councilperson Crooks told me that on January 20, I bet it should be September 25, 2012, she received a telephone call from Town Clerk Frausto telling that her, Crooks, presence was required at another meeting with interim town manager Bruno because an important issue had come up. Ms. Crooks appeared as scheduled for the meeting at approximately 5 p.m. Present were Town Clerk, interim town manager Bruno, and councilperson Workman. Only after the meeting began did Ms. Crooks learn of the nature of the meeting. Ms. Bruno revealed that the confidential letter from Jackson Lewis, copies of which had been provided to council members, had found its way into the hands of opposing counsel at the law firm of Schneider and Onofre. It was further explained that the Arizona Risk Retention Pool representatives were expressing that as a result, the town of Quartzsite's insurance coverage was at risk. Councilperson Crooks said that interim town manager told councilperson Workman that she had been identified as the person responsible for the distribution of the letter, specifically to Ms. Jennifer Jones. Councilperson Crooks indicated that Workman remained silent for an extended period. The silence was interrupted only by Ms. Bruno again informing Council Workman that she had been identified as the person responsible for leaking the document or information to Jennifer Jones. Councilmember Crooks said that Ms. Workman responded something to the effect of, "Okay, yeah, I didn't leak it, Jennifer Jones did." According to Councilmember Crooks, Councilmember Workman offered that her council packet was sitting there, indicating that she saw Jennifer Jones get the document out of the packet. The meeting was terminated after interim town manager Bruno again reinforced the seriousness of what had happened. Ms. Crooks closed by saying that she was shocked at the revelation. They nailed the door shut. September 27th, 2012, 9:40 a.m., Councilmember Jewett interview. I contacted Councilmember Jewett by telephone at his residence. Mr. Jewett said he was aware of my role in helping the town of Quartzsite sort through some recent events that had taken place. I explained to Councilmember Jewett that I was making inquiry as to the events surrounding two separate council briefings that had recently taken place. Mr. Jewett expressed that he understood. With regard to the council briefing that occurred on September 21st, Mr. Jewett explained he had come to Town Hall to attend a status briefing being held by interim town manager Laura Bruno. Mr. Jewett explained that in attendance at the meeting beside himself were Councilmember Kelly, Councilmember Workman, and of course Ms. Bruno. When the meeting began, Mr. Jewett reports that Ms. Bruno explained that the items to be briefed are confidential. Member Jewett confirmed that Ms. Bruno emphasized that no information shared during the briefing was to be shared with anyone outside the briefing and not to be discussed between council members. Specifically, Mr. Jewett recalls clearly that Ms. Bruno asked the question, "Does everyone understand that?" when talking about the confidentiality. Mr. Jewett said that all those present replied yes. During this briefing, Mr. Jewett was shown several documents. Mr. Jewett can't recall if he gave all documents back to Ms. Bruno or he retained any documents. To the best of his recollection, he returned them all. If I can interject here, I didn't return them all. I do have them in my possession. Mr. Jewett specifically recalls reviewing a 3-page letter authored by Stephen Coleman regarding the status of the Connolly et al. Versus Town of Quartzsite. After the briefing, the meeting ended. On September 25, 2012, Councilmember Jewett said he received a telephone call from the town clerk alerting him that another meeting with Manager Bruno was required. Mr. Jewett recalls he was told that something of importance had happened. Councilmember Jewett attended the meeting as scheduled. At this meeting, Mr. Jewett was informed that attorney-client privilege letter from attorney Stephen Coleman had been given to opposing counsel, a violation of confidentiality. As a result, Mr. Jewett learned that the Arizona Municipal Risk Retention Pool may drop the town of Quartzsite as a client. Councilmember Jewett said that he was shocked at the revelation. Councilmember Jewett said he had heard the document may now be on the internet, and he had learned that an acquaintance of Member Workman had leaked the information. September 27, 2012, 10:10 a.m., Town Clerk Terry Frausto interview. I met with Town Clerk Terry Frausto in person at Town Hall. Ms. Frausto said she was not present at any of the 2 original council member briefings, but she had attended a subsequent follow-up briefing. Ms. Frausto said that interim town manager Laura Bruno gave her the task of contacting each council member and scheduling follow-up meetings in groups of 2 each during the late afternoon of September 25. Ms. Frausto said she scheduled each meeting based on the time availability of each member. Ms. Frausto recalled that she simply told the members, "We've had an issue come up and we need you to come in." Ms. Frausto was present specifically at the meeting attended by council members Workman and Crooks. During this meeting, Ms. Frausto said that Ms. Bruno informed those present that a copy of a confidential document regarding Connolly et al. Versus Town of Quartzsite that was given to members at the council briefing on September 21st had been provided to opposing counsel in violation of attorney-client privilege and the confidentiality that members were stressed to uphold. Ms. Frausto recalls that interim town manager Bruno informed those present that this has created a huge problem with the risk pool. Ms. Bruno went on to inform member Workman specifically that she had been identified as the person responsible for the breach of confidentiality and that Ms. Workman had reportedly provided the document to Jennifer Jones. Ms. Frausto recalls that member Workman sat silently for a minute or 2, after which interim manager Bruno again offered that member Workman had been identified as having provided the document. At this point, Ms. Frausto reports that member Workman volunteered that Jennifer Jones was at her home and said, "Okay, yeah, I didn't leak it, Jennifer Jones did." Member Workman went on further saying that her council packet, was sitting there. Ms. Frausto said that member Workman indicated that she saw Jennifer take the document out of the packet. Member Workman explained that she, Workman, thought that Jennifer Jones was simply looking at the upcoming council agenda. The meeting ended with interim manager Bruno re-emphasizing the gravity of the situation. Ms. Frausto said that she walked council member Workman through the offices out the front door. Ms. Frausto said that she told member Workman something to the effect, "I know it hurts when friends betray you." Member Workman responded, "I had no idea." When asked about the impression she had of member Workman's comment, Ms. Frausto indicated that she took the comment at face value. September 27, 11:45 a.m., council member Workman interview. I contacted council member Workman by telephone at her home. I explained to Ms. Workman that I had been asked by the town of Quartzsite to help them sort through some recent events that had taken place. Ms. Workman asked if I was an attorney. I responded, no, I wasn't. She again asked who I was. I again provided my name and spelled it out for her. In response to her question again, I explained my role was to simply help the town of Quartzsite sort through recent events, one of which was an attorney-client letter becoming public. Councilmember Workman said, "I'll tell you what, I'm going to stay silent until either I'm charged or I have an attorney." I told her that I understood, and I terminated the call, thanking her for her time. As a result, I was unable to make any inquiry of Ms. Workman regarding this situation. Opinions and conclusions. It is abundantly clear that all members of the Quartzsite Town Council were briefed in 2 groups of 3 by interim town manager Laura Bruno about matters of concern at the council's request. Further, it is abundantly clear that each attending member was provided confidential information regarding various concerns, including, but not limited to, a status report of the ongoing litigation titled Connolly et al. Versus the town of Quartzsite. During these meetings, each attendee was admonished regarding required confidentiality by town manager Laura Bruno, which was reinforced by her specific required acknowledgement of understanding by each attendee. It is evident that members received a copy of a confidential 3-page document provided by the law firm of Jackson Lewis and authored by attorney Stephen Coleman. It is also without any doubt that a copy of this controlled, confidential document was provided to unauthorized persons, causing a complete copy to be provided to opposing counsel. Opposing counsel, Schneider and Onofre, recognizing that the document is attorney-client privilege, contacted the town's council, who in turn reported the matter to the Arizona Municipal Risk Retention Pool. While Councilmember Workman refused to be interviewed in this matter, there is sufficient witness statements whereby Councilmember Workman acknowledges some role in the document not being maintained in a confidential manner. I am disappointed I was not offered the opportunity to work with Councilmember Workman to obtain her help in resolving this issue. Finally, I did not explore the rumor that the document had been posted online. In my opinion, it doesn't matter if the document in question, which was confidential, has been provided to opposing legal counsel or if it will be posted online. Confidentiality has been compromised regardless. Respectfully submitted, Tony Ford, September 28, 2012.
Thank you. Frankly, I'm absolutely speechless that this has happened.
I agree with you, and I think if a friend of mine were to go rooting through my private stuff, I would consider changing my circle of friends.
When we take on the responsibility of the town council, we are required to read our code of ethics and to sign a paper saying we have read it, we will abide by that. Personally, what can I say? That was not honored.
At any rate, at this moment, I'm sorry, I would make a recommendation from the Ad Hoc Committee that we formally censure Councilwoman Workman, charge her with the unauthorized release of a client attorney privilege document to unauthorized persons, violating section 9(5)D of the council's legal and ethical standards, and that we forward this on to the full council for a total vote for the total statute. And I would like to also mention that this is the second time that Council Workman has been under ad hoc since she's been in office. Thank you. That would be my motion.
I would add to that recommendation, the sent should be in writing.
Correct.
Okay, any further comment?
I don't know what more we can say.
You gonna allow public comment?
No, I don't believe.
I don't believe
No,
it's,
not this
that is in
time.
order at this time.
That would be the vote.
All right, I'm just.
No, we don't need to take a vote.
What?
No, we don't take a vote at this time, we just will recommend to the council action to be taken.
Sorry, I'll make a recommendation instead of make a motion for a vote. Is that?
I believe-
Carried. It's not a recommendation for a vote, a motion, it's a recommendation to the full council. It doesn't need a vote. It's not a motion. Sorry. That would be it.
Okay, any further comment?
That's done.
I have none.
None.
Being none, we will adjourn.